Hello, everyone, and I'm saying this for after a week or so, but welcome back to Football Pundits and our FPL episode. We have missed you, and it's been good to see messages coming in, people asking where our videos are, because then clearly that means you guys have missed us as well. The international break, we took a quick break as well, Diwali, all of that. So happy Diwali and happy New Year to all of you who celebrate. But let's get into the FPL. There's obviously loads of questions this week. International break has not been kind to FPL managers. In today's episode, we're going to be looking at the injuries, obviously, that have come in, how to navigate those, some key picks for this team, and of course, as always, captain picks, differentials, and we also have a couple of team reveals in there. Annie, jumping right in, I'm going to ask our still top 10K worldwide man the big question: what are we doing with injuries? What's your plan? Are you just going to throw Hail Mary? I know you wanted to hit wildcard, right?
Yeah, so Karan, fine margins, right? Welcome back to everybody. Thank you so much for the messages. Genuinely shocked that so many people were actually tuning in. Yes, I obviously was going to wildcard immediately because it's something which was part of my plan, right? Look, I didn't take -4 last week to get in Bruno and Chilwell. Would have paid dividends. Minus would have been more than enough made up for it, but that's how it works, right? So let's not mull over those decisions to all their managers there. Coming into what we have this week, the mess that we have, the likes of Salah, Trent, Robertson is back. He did play, so he should be good. Sterling is a little doubtful. You have Wolves defenders conundrum. Nouri is injured again, so does Sayers come in? If you're not taking Sayers out, what do you do? You have doubts even about um, your uh, your Burnley defenders who are like your backup defenders, like Charlie Taylor now. So even that's going downhill, right? So your backup on your bench player who would have actually come in is also not there. So coming to defense, and let's start with that first. If you still haven't removed Trent, he has to go. He's not going to play for a while. So it's just a no-brainer. Now, if you've been saving it, don't think about the... Look, I don't look at team values. So take out Trent. The question is, Chilwell was a backup. It's a must-have. Chilwell was doubtful, but now he's been cleared. He doesn't have the mark on him anymore. I would say, yes, it is still a safer, a better option to go in for Chilwell this week. Risk that he might not start because you're going to lose value on Trent as it goes, right, Kern?
Yep.
What about the other defenders? What if you have the likes of Reguilon? Do you remove him because Spurs don't have great fixtures themselves? I'll leave that to you, Kern. And you can even see that Chilwell conundrum there.
So obviously Chilwell is a must-have right now. Trent Alexander-Arnold, if you haven't shipped him yet, I don't know what you're doing. I think people are sort of holding on and trying to have that glory moment of, hey, you
Yeah,
see,
there's no hope.
I held on to him and I proved you wrong, because they can come with those explosive returns, but spread out over so many weeks now, it's obvious that Chilwell would have got you those returns, and that extra two that you would have got initially from the price value would have got you so much more points in midfield and other places, or even other defenders, right? I think Chilwell is a must-have. Region, if you have him right now, just keep him, because I'm sure that you have flags elsewhere in your team that you need to sort of put fires out. So if you have him, keep him. Uh, but two of the other defenders that I want to talk about that I think are sort of must-haves. Cresswell for West Ham, great run of fixtures coming up. He has some great underlying stats attacking as well. I have Sufan, who's a good alternate option if you don't have the money for Cresswell. But if you're looking for Trent replacements, you already have Chilwell, then that's a sort of more premium option. Or, as you said, the Wolves assets who are currently confusing as to who would start, who won't. And you want a more guaranteed one, then Cresswell has a good run of fixtures coming up. The other one is Yao Cancelo. City are doing really good defensively. And Cancelo has created 11 chances, which is more than any other defender in the FPL. He's second only to De Bruyne for Man City. He's averaging around 6 points per match recently. Since his first appearance in game week 5, he's combined for 1 assist and 2 clean sheets with 6 bonus. So Cancelo's there for the taking. I want to figure out how I can bring him eventually. So, but if you are looking for the switch right now, Cancelo, Chilwell, Cresswell are the sort of more premium options that I'd look at in defense. Keeper Martinez is still the one for me over there.
Yeah, it's interesting. So I'll also come to the keeper in the end, Kern. So if you have, let's say, 4 or 5 red flags and you want to fix two, we'll come to Salah later. Be very picky if you don't have a wild card left. Blindly, okay, look, a -8. If a lot of people will be doing a -4, right, Kern? It's not just us. Lot of people looking at the flags that they have, and if you see my team a -4 is the bare minimum they'll do, but don't do it blindly. If you think the player's coming back next week, maybe hold on, and if you have a bench player coming in, just have that patience. You might take a less of a hit this week. You can easily make up for it next week. Yeah, Karan, like you said, West Ham definitely, Cresswell does take those set pieces, right, which is so important sometimes to get you that extra point there. Lucky with the Kufal clean sheet last week. Lookman really botched that penalty up so badly. It wasn't even funny. But yes, speaking of Kufal, again, great budget option. Sheffield away, Aston Villa home, United home, Leeds away, Crystal Palace home. Good fixtures there, not really bad. Could get you those points at 4.5. Kufal mainly for me. And to close off the defensive bit before you go on to the keeper, what would you do about your Wolves assets? Because it was anyway time to take them out. I would say if you have Kilman, leave him in your team. Move on to your bench because at 4.2 or 4.3 that he is now, keep a good cheap defender to have who plays. They play Southampton, but then they're Arsenal, Liverpool, Villa, Chelsea, Burnley, Tottenham, United. Mixed bag towards the wrong end, right, Kern? So I think Wolves, even if you have Says, maybe keep him. Because if you have other defenders like Chilwell, if you're not sure about playing, Dort, you might not start. I don't think it makes sense fixing that. And if you have more flags in your midfield, work on that instead. And to cap up my budget pick, I would say, since Kern's already covered West Ham, Aston Villa obviously have the good fixtures. But Aston Villa, like Kern said, you have Martinez and you most likely have Grealish or Barkley. Is it time to triple up on Villa? The fixtures are great. Brighton, West Ham, Newcastle, Wolves, Burnley, West Brom, Palace. Good fixtures, right, Kern? But Konsa 4.7, Mings 5.3 now. Target is the only one at 4.5 who's there, right?
I think if you have Martinez, then I'm not going to triple up on Villa because yes, they're good. And one of the good things about Villa is that they've had the most consistent lineup, and especially with the fixture pile up coming on. There's starting Saturday, continuous games for 9 days of football of the next 61, which one of those off days just being Christmas Day, right? Lots of fixtures coming in, expecting lots of squad rotation. So having some Villa assets definitely helps. Triple up, I'm not yet convinced. Yes, the fixtures are there, but we have seen good potential elsewhere in defense. The names that we've just discussed, the teams that we've just discussed. So Martinez is good enough for me. I'm not going to double up there. And obviously Grealish we'll get to when we get to midfield. But yeah, if you don't have Martinez or if you're still dire, then 4.7 thereabouts for a Villa defender isn't too bad right now.
Yeah, fair enough. And another outside shout out I will give to Newcastle. Decent fixtures up until I think the end of December, basically, I think around after Boxing Day. Jamal Lewis 4.3, again Lascelles 4.4. If you're looking to shake up your defense, right, and you're looking at cheaper options, since you're taking out the likes of Alexander Arnold, and you want to build and save that money not just in your defense but put it all in your midfield, these are the kind of players you'll be looking at, right? So, Kern, rounding off your point of the keeper, yes, Martinez does seem to still be the pick of it. McCarthy has kept a few surprising clean sheets that we expected him not to keep, so he's doing a good job. Patricio is someone I mentioned a few weeks back, and not surprised that he's the second or third best keeper now. He's actually tied with Martinez, right? But at 5.5 again, unless you're wildcarding and you want to double down on Wolves, I would still say maybe keep a cheap defender. Looking at the fixtures that they have coming, I don't think Patricio's a guy you want in your team right now. You could again look at the likes of Darlow at 5 instead. But yeah, Martinez still, I think the keeper bet at 4.8. For me, McCarthy at 4.5 was a safe bet. Moving on to midfield, Kern, and the big question, Mo Salah down to 12.3, will obviously miss one game, could miss 2 games. Leaving aside the whole question about will his value drop even more, if you have someone like me, and a lot of managers who have that, Kern, I have 2 flags in my midfield, 3. I have Sterling who might not play. I have Salah who's definitely not going to play. Would you recommend it does make sense to make that switch to Bruno if you don't have him, or to KDB?
Yeah, if you're in a position where you have 2 premium players in your midfield with flags, and definitely make that switch, because even if you have to take a -4, because they will return more than that 4 points. Right. So, for example, if you don't have Bruno this week where he plays West Brom, who are supposed to be there for the taking when we look at just FPL, right? United fan on me obviously is scared with the home form, this, that, everything, but just objectively, the form is there for him, the fixtures are there for him, so Bruno does make sense. Um, I'll say where I'm coming from, right? So I have the only big red flag in my team in terms of premium is Mo Salah. I have Bruno in my team. Uh, and I got in, and I'm sure a lot of us got in Salah when he was 12.0. His price went up obviously to 12.5, 12.4. So if you move him out, you're essentially going to lose zero point 0.2 because of how warped the selling prices are in FPL.
Yeah.
And it's most likely that you will bring him back in immediately. Right. So it just depends on me on how long Salah is out and what your alternate options are. This week, my alternate option for Salah is KDB, who's playing Spurs. So I'm not sure whether he'll give me the value for the 4 points hit that I take. Could be proven wrong. I'm going to wait and see till next week. If Salah doesn't play next week as well, then Salah to KDB is a no-brainer. But I'm going to wait for that. But Salah to Bruno this week, definitely take that 4 point hit, keeping in mind the price value. But as you said, right, squad value this season, especially where so many changes are going to be happening last second, so many injuries, might not be that big a thing to worry about, at least not yet.
Yep, fair enough. Because I get your point. But the thing is, imagine I get suckered in. I don't take out Salah, and he doesn't play next week as well, and I'll be like, But again, to remind all the FPL managers, playing for fun, take a breather. I get angry too, looking at especially the game I saw right now when Mitrovic didn't take that penalty, gave it to Lookman, and Mitrovic has been such a disappointment for me, I swear to God. We'll come to that later. But coming back to the midfield thing, yeah, I think I will be taking out Salah. I don't know if it's for Bruno or KDB. And I'll tell you why. That's because I also have Sterling. And now we can move on to the KDB and Sterling. So what if you have one of the two? If you have KDB for me, you keep him. If you have Sterling, do you keep him even though he might end up fit tomorrow? See, we're shooting this guys on Thursday night India time. This episode will be out on Friday for your benefit to view. So yeah, what if he's fit by the time you see this episode? Do you keep him? If you don't take out Salah and you want to leave him for 1 week, right? And if you have Sterling, I still think considering getting in Bruno for Sterling makes sense. You get that 0.9 in the bank, 11.5 to 10.6. That's what Bruno is right now. You can add that to your defense. If you don't have Chilwell, especially, you can get Chilwell now. You can have one of your defenders with at 4.8, 4.9. Take that, hopefully one more point in your bank and get a Chilwell in, right? Also, Kern, we can wrap this up and we move this into the next, into the Spurs debate. But what if you take out one of Son and go to a Grealish or Kane to a Werner? You're just saving points all over, right? So, Sterling has disappointed. He's blanked 3 game weeks. He's not done too well. He is touted to do something though, right? But against Spurs, even I'm a little worried. So before this whole thing, if Salah was fit, I was going to drop Sterling hands down, get in KDB, and that was my move for this week. And I'm going to be like, what? If I don't wildcard, that'll be it. But things obviously in FPL never go as they are supposed to, ever, no matter what you plan. So I think that wraps up that 3 wells. If you are considering to get in Sterling or KDB this week, it would be KDB. And if it is a Salah out, definitely Bruno makes sense. They're looking at the 3 fixtures that they play. West Ham, I think Southampton, and West Brom is the first fixture right after that. Sorry.
Yeah, and I think you touched upon the Spurs debate here, which is the next question, Son and Kane. I personally, as soon as last game week started and like the fixtures were sort of getting done, I wanted to beat the price rise and price fall, especially after Son blank again, and did what millions or hundreds of thousands of managers have already done, Son to Ziyech. Ziyech has great run of fixtures coming up. His form has been exceptional. He's created 4 big chances over the last 2 game weeks, which is more than any other player in fantasy. He's returned double digits in both starts over the last 2 game weeks as well. Ziyech is there for the picking. So Son to Ziyech was the easy transfer for me. With the Spurs fixtures coming up, and in general, if you see the stats, Spurs attacking output has reduced over the last few game weeks, right? Uh, I don't see that continuing as they did in the start of the season. Having said that, I started the season saying Spurs won't do as well, and then they proved me wrong. So this could be a big risk, but I just think the value that we can get from other options like ZX, like Bruno currently, and then eventually KDB, seeing the fixtures coming up, and City now with Jesus back being more attacking. I think that switch is needed. Double up on Spurs with this fixture list is too tricky, and I'm holding on to Kane because he just seems like being involved with everything. He's getting assists, he's getting goals, he's getting shots away, he's doing everything. Son to Ziyech is my pick. So if I'm just looking at just sort of rounding up midfielder picks, Ziyech and Bruno are these standout picks, and if you're looking at Grealish, has to be in there as well currently with Villa's fixtures. Those three are the must-haves for me, and then KDB and cover the other names that we touched upon, depending on where your team composition is and how you're planning the next 2-3 weeks.
Yeah, Kern, I can help you on that point of because look, I took out Grealish for Ziyech last week. Grealish still got 6 points in, but Ziyech obviously got more there for me. So now this week it was again, along with the Bruno move. If I was going to do the wild card, I was like, Son out, Grealish in, Grealish back in. It's fair. I save money both ways. I can upgrade my defender Chilwell, and I can even keep that extra money in the bank for a future upgrade of a DCL to one of what I've been talking about. Things obviously, like I said, are not gone where they are. And I'm looking at this fixture now and I'm looking at City's defense, right? Ruben Diaz looked very solid midweek, even for Portugal. Got in goals as well. But if I'm looking at the way Kane is especially playing the last couple of games, he's been dropping so deep, right? It's been to the benefit of letting the likes of Bale and Mora and Son attack. But when Kane dropping deep and Diaz obviously being with him, I'm looking at City there. I'm looking at Walker. And I'm like, I think Son can take him. I think Son has a way through. So I kind of stopped myself thinking, would you really rather remove Son or Kane? So I am still so stuck on it, right? When I'll do my team reveal later, I'll be revealing the possible changes I can do. But yeah, if I still am leaning towards taking out Son for Grealish and having Grealish and Ziyech in my team over Son and Ziyech as of now, it's not just that I think Son can't score in the next 5 games. Yeah, we all know that the fixture list is just terrible. They're playing Chelsea after this, Arsenal, Palace, Liverpool, Leicester, Wolves. Not really good fixtures, but yeah, Son could still do a lot, right? But looking at, like you said, Grealish, and to sum that up, his fixtures are just too tempting to ignore. He could maybe just outscore Son, either way. So Son will do well, Grealish can just do better. So yeah, that's again my take on that. So we can move on to the strikers now. And since we're talking about Kane, so we've discussed that Kane is a player you and I most likely will keep for this week at least. For the managers who are looking at an alternate for Kane and they're like, no, Kane's already on his way out or we want him out, the wild card is on. Werner again is an option we consider because he helps you free up that funds. Or the like of a Salah who goes out or a Bruno and you want to get him back in, you might not be able to afford him, right? Or do you go for Jamie Vardy? Leicester doesn't have bad fixtures themselves for the next 3-4 games.
My pick is Werner for sure. Amongst that, I would, like if I've gotten Ziyech now, maybe, if I have Kane currently, if he doesn't fire as much, I will get Werner in for him. And the reason being, yes, we'd be disappointed with his start, but he was supplied 2 big chances in the first 6 game weeks. And the last 2, he's already been supplied with 3 big chances. So Ziyech coming in is not just big for Ziyech, but it's also good for Werner. Right, so I see that changing. Havertz is again sort of, he's supposed to be fit for this week. Whether he plays 90 minutes or not, I'm not sure, but that again just leads to the supply that's going to go to Werner. One of the worries I do have with Werner currently is just that because Pulisic is injured, we're seeing him being shipped off to the left and then Tammy up front, which is why I'm still not blindly making my switch of Werner to Kane, or I would have, or rather Kane to Werner.
Yeah.
Right, so that's the only thing sort of still holding me back on Werner. But if you were to look at an alternate for Kane, Werner would be my first pick. Vardy obviously is a good option, but he's still performing primarily on penalties. His underlying stats aren't that great still. Could be a good pick. I'm actually still backing Dominic Calvert-Lewin.
Sorry, the Vardy thing is just like how you have been talking about Spurs and I have been talking about Vardy, and a lot of people who ask me on the side have told them the same thing. but he keeps getting penalties. There were 2 last week against Wolves. I mean, it's one of those things that if we just come to terms with what if it is just that season, he's going to score 12 penalties or like 13 penalties. What is it really naive to not look at the season anymore as a complete anomaly and look at these random things you would never look at? It almost seems like you're doing a superstitious thing. Nothing
Yeah.
logical about it, nothing backed about it. It's about, yeah, he may just win more penalties because that's how it is. So you have other players or strikers who could get you more points overall. Like a Werner is more involved in Chelsea's play overall. So if not getting those goals, if he shipped off penalty even to Jorginho, he's very likely to be the guy who's won them those penalties. So the guy who cuts in and gets that ball in, right?
Yeah, that's the thing. So Vardy, the problem, see, this week is Liverpool away, and despite their injuries and everything, Liverpool have been solid at Anfield largely, right? Which is my concern. But after that, they're playing Fulham, where he is probably a captaincy contender. So I think it's these calls are probably week to week now, right? So we never know what will happen over the course of the week with Champions League football midweek could prove problematic for Chelsea and stuff like that. So I think Vardy's call, hold on for a week still in making that call. Um, I'm just saying right now Werner looks a lot more appealing, possibly even captain material this week. That's why Werner instead next week we look at what the Vardy situation is. As of now, this week Werner seems like the better option. But we have seen Lampard already wanting to do some squad rotation with him, whereas Vardy won't happen. Vardy could be a good shout coming in from next week onwards, especially if Spurs have some problems as well going front. This week is still hold off on Vardy for me.
Yeah. So I would sum it up again there. If I'm wildcarding, if I say I have to end up wildcarding in a desperate move, Vardy comes in for Kane
Yeah,
over Son to Grealish. That's where the toss-up is, right? And that's such a tight one. That is such a tight one. Look, because what tells
yeah,
me there is he's up against Matip and who? Bryce Williams mostly is fit. But you fancy Vardy to just fly over that centre back pair. You fancy him to fly over it. They are getting players fit. Leicester heading the opposite way of Liverpool. The players are coming back fit. So, such a tough one. But yeah, I mean, if I
yeah,
were looking at just this week at game week 9, Werner should take the cake there.
yeah,
Moving on to DCL, like you said, I think it's a no-brainer for 3 more weeks. He should be fit in your team. If you are looking to move it on to another striker, I would not say recommend for y'all to go to like a Werner. We then have the likes of Watkins versus Bamford if you don't have those. So who do you go for, Watkins or Bamford?
Bamford for me because with Villa you do have Grealish as your option.
Or Martinez already. So there's 2 players again.
Yeah,
Do you triple up if you have those 2?
yeah. That's the thing with attacking output. I think Grealish is a safe option. Yes, Watkins is getting those returns, but when you see Bamford, he's the only option in that Leeds United team or that guaranteed option to get you returns. His finishing is woeful, but Leeds just create so many chances. It's crazy that Bamford does end up scoring. He probably misses 2 big chances a game, but he ends up scoring one, right? So Bamford is my pick there. DCL, as you said, he has the most shots on target outside of Kane and Salah. That's some elite company to be a part of, despite not having Richarlison and James Rodriguez in the middle. Now they are back. Luka Dean is back. So I think it's going to add to DCL again, and fixtures are there. So DCL is there. Bamford is my other pick. And the premiums we've already discussed. Also, Wilson would have been in there, but now he has a flag on him. So these other options are there. Ings again, flag on him. He's obviously out for a while.
Yeah.
The other obvious option is Che Adams, who could benefit now. But I just think Watkins, Bamford, these are sort of slightly safer picks in that comparison. So holding up with Che Adams would be the other name if someone's looking to go slightly differential or already have them and are looking for a third striker.
Yeah. So the only reason why when I spoke about Sayers earlier to keep him also, right, is because Cody was a doubt because he got to quarantine because he was in contact with someone who was COVID. But that also means that Cody is the center back. He's like the spine of this side, right, of the Wolves defense. So Che Adams does have a way into this, right? He could get a goal or 2 past Wolves. So it is a very, very tricky week. It didn't seem this tricky apart from just the Tottenham versus City fixture, right? About 2 weeks back, but everything's been tossed up on his head. Yeah, so I think, yeah, for me, if you're looking at, see, Bamford's owned about 35%, Watkins is under 10%. If I do wildcard and Martin Mitrovic definitely be going out, I would keep in DCL. So I think I would look at Ollie Watkins if I don't get in Grealish. But if I get in Grealish, I don't think I could go for Watkins and Grealish. Tough one. I don't see myself doing that because I would see myself getting target as a 4.5 defender to replace the likes of Taylor or Nouri or Justin and work my way around there. So I think Bamford does edge it over there. The only way I would get in Watkins is purely based on a gut feeling before the deadline day. If my wildcard's active, that is. If it's not, then that Mitrovic unfortunately still stays. But it would be a gut call really Watkins over Bamford for me. Kern, I think that wraps it up in terms of our traditional work. What about your differential pick for this week?
Yeah, my differential for this week is Soufal. I'm also saying because I have him. West Ham plays Sheffield United, which just seem like a sort of safe clean sheet pick currently. Playing Sheffield United, Brewster was, I think, going to be in a lot of teams, including mine, to come in as a Salah replacement, but he's picked up a knock as well and came back from his under 23 or under 21 international duty. Soufal, good, like low ownership, good price, good fixtures for West Ham, so he can be a long-term differential as well. So that's my differential pick.
My differential pick is Jesus, like you mentioned earlier. Yes, he is playing Tottenham, but with the likes of Doherty out, Sterling, if he's fit, if Sterling might not play, Foden gets his chance in. Foden is positive, good feeds, Jesus. I know he's 9.3. We did not bring him up in our strikers conversation, but if you you don't want to do a Werner, you're scared about Vardy, but you're sure that you want to make room for better midfielders in the next week, and when you want to strategize and plan for next week, and you don't want any Spurs assets, then Kane to Jesus at 1% ownership only seems like a no-brainer. Yeah. And to our captain picks, again, captain picks are not an easy one for this game week. If you have, I would say though, if you have Werner, he seems like a safe captain pick. And I'm saying that even though I'm going to get in Bruno. So my worry with Bruno Fernandes is the injuries in United's defense, right? I wasn't talking about United's defense as must-haves in the last week, but they are most likely without Lindelof, Maguire, Shaw. Worries me a little about the composition of the team. Also, with Rashford and Martial doubtful along with Greenwood. So there is a lot of doubt there for me. So I won't make him my primary pick. He'll be my secondary captain pick. Primary will be Werner.
Interesting. So yeah, for me, Bruno, and I think for a lot of managers I've just been seeing out there, a lot of the pro pundits as such have all sort of gone for the Bruno option. So Bruno's there, yes. There is that scare with United's home form, with the team composition, as you said. So those scares are there with Bruno, but he's a safe option. I think if you're looking for a secondary option or a differential caption, Grealish is not a bad option at all. He's got some solid returns at home. He's playing against Brighton, who struggle sort of against teams that are playing, how Villa are playing this season. So I think Grealish could get some really good returns this week, and he might be a really good differential captain pick.
Yeah, I think you wrapped it up for me there. Grealish was my differential pick as well, captain pick, along with the likes of Ziyech. I think, again, Ziyech will definitely start. He's had a good international break, got in assist and goal as well. So, good deliver for Chelsea, especially since he's become the talisman of this team now, the way it's going along with Werner. So, yeah, that was it. This was our episode, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. We will be doing our team reveals on Twitter once we make our final changes. But these are primarily the changes we will be making, the ones we've discovered in this episode so far. If you have any more questions, hit us up in the comments on Twitter, on Instagram, whatever works for you guys. We're happy to indulge our fellow managers in some more conversation. Thank you for tuning in again. We'll see you in the next episode.
Best of luck for Game Week 9.